Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our Board of Education Business Meeting, November 29th, 2021. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Dr. Sterling? You're muted, Dr. Sterling.
Again, good evening, everyone, and welcome. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. This evening, we would like to begin first with our policies. At our last work session, there were 3 policies that the board reviewed and made some changes and suggestions. They were updated and presented to the board in their update. So this evening, we are looking at, for a first read, policy 0101, which is the gender neutral single occupancy bathrooms. A lot of the policy has already been implemented in our school district, and they were just minor edits for this particular policy. The second policy is policy 1230 and 1230E, which is public comment at Board of Education meetings. The board did review procedures and protocols for the public in this policy, defining time limits as well as protocols that need to take place when we are in person, and that also has been updated. And the last policy, policy 2342, which is the agenda preparation and dissemination. We updated that policy, and our district clerk is very much involved in the management of the agenda and the dissemination of materials. So with all of that said, if the board has any questions or continued concerns regarding any of the policies, we can have that discussion now.
It's fine.
Okay.
I don't believe there's any concern. Thank you, Dr. Sterling.
Thank you very much. So that's for our first reading. Regarding our reopening of school and just an update to our reopening plan update. Since we had open school in September, we have been moving along with a very strong focus on our academics and SEL programs in our district, but at the same time, we always continue to focus on health and safety. So within our reopening plan, I just want to remind the community about a few things that have actually changed since September. First of all, there are now vaccinations available for COVID-19 for children's age 5 through 11. We encourage our families to consult with their pediatricians and to seek information on getting vaccinated. Our school nurses are available to answer questions and or provide resources and or places.
You froze, Dr. Sterling.
Yeah, I think we lost him. Jen, could you try reaching out to him?
And he's back.
Mike.
Okay, I'm back, and I apologize. I was kicked off. the wonders of technology. I was discussing the fact in terms of vaccinations, again, are available for our children 5 through 11. We are also continuing at Clearstream Avenue School every Monday, testing for those staff members and or families that want to get a COVID test from 7:25 to 8:20, 8:20, from 7 to 8:25 every morning. We are continuing with universal mask wearing in our school district. All of our staff have been vaccinated or they are being tested weekly. The number of cases that we've had since the month of September amongst all 3 schools range and are actually the following in regards to the number of students, including this weekend's numbers. We have a total of 19 students district-wide, a total of 5 teachers district-wide, and a total of 4 staff members district-wide. So a total of 28 individuals have tested positive in the school district since the month of September in terms of our return to school. These numbers are considered low. However, we are continuing to monitor cases again as we proceed through this week, and again getting ready for another holiday break in December. We will continue to monitor the numbers and the positivity rates across Nassau County. Families should be aware that we have special area teachers that were only pushing into classes at the beginning of the school year, and we are now at the point of having a hybrid of activities where the specialists are pushing in or students are actually going to the specialist class on a schedule. We have minimized and continue to minimize large group gatherings and activities. If we do anything of that nature, we tend to do it outside. We have a combination of virtual as well as in-person meetings with different groups of families, depending on the situation, and being able to coordinate social distancing for the event is what usually guides us in terms of whether or not we're meeting in person. We do continue to monitor the cases. As you're aware, there are new viruses coming up. So again, we're not totally out of the woods, but we are moving in the right direction. And we are hoping to continue to be diligent about the cleaning in our district in terms of the schools. I do want to remind our families that one of the things that we asked all families to do this year was to complete an assurance that they would be checking their children and not sending their children to school ill. We do not have 100% of families as of yet, but I do thank those families that have signed off on the assurance and then continue to encourage those families to continue to sign off so that we can have 100% in the district. And at this point, all of our schools have instituted an early morning drop-off program for its students at this point in time. So we will continue to monitor coronavirus in the district, as well as make adjustments to our plan going forward. District enrollment. Are steady at a total of 1,428 students district. Last month we were 1,422. Most of the movements this year were at the Forest Grove School. They were 321 last month, and this month they're at 330. This evening, I'm going to ask Ms. Lunar and Dr. Shim to share some information that we're excited about as it relates to our curriculum This was a very busy month, and the board was made aware of the different activities that were taking place. And this evening, we'd like to briefly share with the board and the community some of the highlights of the activities that took place in the month of November. Ms. Lunar?
Thank you, Dr. Sterling. Good evening, everyone. So as Dr. Sterling shared, November was quite a busy month, packed with American Education Week, our first ever and hopefully annual turkey trot, as well as National School Psychology Awareness Week. So Dr. Schimpf and Dr. Zeltzer will also be presenting this evening to provide some further information on National School Psychology Awareness Week. So to kick off, American Education Week did take place the week of November 15th. It was first celebrated in 1921, so it really is the celebration of public education. So taking a look at the variety of activities that took place across our 3 schools, our teachers did engage families and include them in our curriculum in a virtual setting this year. So last year we had included a holidays around the world activities that we really tried to get families and students engaged in while they were on their remote days. So either our fully remote students last year or our hybrid students on their remote days for them to engage in this activity with families. But this year is a little bit different. One of the digital tools that a number of our teachers took advantage of, and this was actually something that they had learned about from Mr. Honorato on our superintendent's conference day at the beginning of November, was Book Creator. And this really allowed our teachers to showcase for families different activities, different lessons, what the day looks like in their classrooms. So our pre-K teachers collaborated across the district. This particular book was one that Miss Aragona created with her students, showcasing their work, obviously getting ready for Thanksgiving at the time. So what her students were thankful for, and they were also able to record messages and embed them in here, as well as share their own turkey drawings. Similar, Mr. Grice had created a book creator book as well that was able to be shared with families. And this was able to showcase the turkey trot that took place on November 15th at Clearstream. They are also actively getting ready for Winter Olympics, which you'll be hearing more about in the upcoming weeks. Our 6th grade team over at Clearstream Avenue used another digital resource that our teachers learned about on Superintendent's Conference Day, which is Padlet. And the 6th grade team got families involved with perimeter and area measurements around the home. So just to give you a quick glimpse of what a Padlet presentation looks like, this was shared with families, and this gave a glimpse as to what each of the students did at home, this particular areas that they took a look at in their homes. Over at Forest Road, Miss Davidson, new to our 1st grade team, did a recording and really captured the life of what a 1st grade student looks like at Forest Road. So she was able to place this together using Google Docs. So it's interactive. You get to see all of her kiddos coming in the morning and takes you through what a typical day looks like in 1st grade. So their routines, core curriculum programs that they utilize, some center time, some of their favorite stories. Ms. Kunzel, one of our self-contained teachers, really turned this over to her students and allowed her students to be able to write and share with families what their day looks like. So now you saw the day of a 1st grader from the teacher's perspective and kind of showcasing and walking you through that. And here is the day of a student from their perspective. And what was so great about this is the way that Ms. Kunzo got her families involved was she asked the families to leave a message at the end of the book. So when she published this digital resource to them, there was then a Google form for them to fill out to share a little message back to their child, and she was able to share that message back to them. Miss White engaged her 5th grade families with the story, I Sang You Down from the Stars. So she had recorded herself reading this so families can hear the story, as well as reading the story to her class, and then engaged families in this interactive writing activity. Over at Shaw Avenue, they got everyone involved in American Education Week. First off, by kicking off a Spirit Week that started off with a poem in their pocket on Monday. The 2nd grade team over at Shaw Avenue read the story Everybody Cooks Rice, which was a story that students then took home and shared with their families. And each class then created a recipe book. So students had the opportunity to talk about with their families what different recipes they cook at home using rice. Our 6th grade team at Shaw Avenue created a math game called Factor Puzzles. So the teachers had shown this to them in school. They had then taken this home to their families, and they were able to now teach their parents how to play this game. And they were challenged to capture some shots of these activities. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Schimpf and Dr. Zeltzer.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Lunar. Hello, everyone. So it's my distinct pleasure to recognize our fabulous 5, as I call them, our 5 school psychologists. We're very fortunate this school year to add an additional psychologist. Thank you to the Board of Education. So I did want to publicly recognize Jennifer Orlana, who's at Clearstream, Dr. Francine Zeltzer at Forest Road, Mrs. Sonia Jackson at Forest Road as well, Dr. Lorraine Casella at Shore Avenue, and our new member, Dr. Anna Tello, who's also at Shore Avenue. So part of November every year, and it's become a tradition for us, November 8th this year was National School Psychology Awareness Week. It is a national recognition. Some schools do celebrate it. Most schools, recognize school psychologists, and they do some activities through the National School Psychology Association. We have taken it a step further over the past 5 years. We started this in 2017 with the help of our school psychologists. I call it the big 4 objectives, and that is 1, yes, to recognize our school psychologists. 2, to familiarize all of our students with our mental health professionals, because sometimes there can be stigma of who a school psychologist is and who goes to a school psychologist. These are our counselors in our buildings. Also, to emphasize the work that we're doing with mental health and social emotional learning. And last but not least, as part of the strategic plan, our role is to integrate both the mental health and the physical health integration for our students. And we have worked very collaboratively, and I wanted to publicly thank our PE, our physical education department, who has worked very closely to make this happen with our school psychologists. So our theme for this year is Let's Get in Gear, which lines up very nicely with our district theme of Let's Move Again. It also fits very nicely with coming from a pandemic and the resilience and the challenges that our families and students faced. And GEAR stands for Grow, Engage, Advocate, and Rise. So to kick off the week, the school psychologists did a lot of multimedia. So they started off with videos in each one of the buildings. I have a small brief segment of it just to give you a taste of what some of our students have said in one of our buildings about our school psychologists. Jen, if you could share that.
The school psychologist teaches us how to rise and reach our true potential.
You don't see it, Jen.
Happy National School Psychology Week. This year,
Let me try to open it again from here.
Okay. So as Jen's getting that up and running for us, just so you see, the whole week was devoted to different SEL activities, which Dr. Zelsa will be going over that.
The school psychologist teaches us how to advocate for ourselves. The school psychologist teaches us how to rise and reach our true potential.
We don't see the video, Jen, but I think it's fine just the audio, just to give them a sense. That's fine. And they can see it afterwards.
We'll share the video link out afterward.
Okay. So just to give you a sense of the different stations, I'm going to have Dr. Zelsa take us through.
Sure. Hi, good evening, everyone. So we really enjoy National School Psychology Week because it gives us the opportunity to not only work with all of the students district-wide, but also to collaborate with the PE department, who has been so wonderful in helping us facilitate these activities, because there truly is a strong link between the different aspects of health, your physical health and your mental health, and both are just as important as the other. So what we did this year in all 3 buildings district-wide is we used the PE period and we split the gym into 4 different stations. Each of the different stations were aligned with one of the letters of the theme, which was gear. So Mrs. Lunar, if you don't mind going to the next page, our first station was the grow station. So depending on the age of the students were encouraged to build strong, tall, smart towers. Now, the materials that they used to build these towers made it quite difficult to build a tower. And we often know, as in life, sometimes we have to take 2 or 3 steps back to take 5 or 6 steps forward. So the students problem solved and worked together to build these towers and figure out how they could grow them not only taller, not only quickly, but also stronger and smarter. Then on our next station was the Engage station, and this was a real fan favorite. We used the game The Floor is Lava, which many of you might have heard of, to set up somewhat of an obstacle course for students to navigate across their segment of the gym. And then we align the Floor is Lava tiles with the mood meter. So if they landed on, let's say, a blue dot, which is aligned with feelings of sadness or feelings of negative affect, they strategize which coping strategy they could use to get off of that dot and then move to the next tile in order to make their way across the gym. And they really very much enjoyed this activity. And it was so interesting because the first round, the students needed a little bit of guidance and support to navigate from point A to point Z. And then by the end, they were actually encouraging each other and suggesting different strategies that they could use to get across the obstacle course. The Wheel of Advocacy station was ran by most of the psychologists, and it presented students with hypothetical situations that they discussed and problem solved together to figure out how they can best facilitate. So it's interesting, if you look at the pictures, we the psychologists helped facilitate it, but really this station in particular, but all the stations were student-led. So we used our 5th and 6th grade students district-wide to help run the stations with our younger students. And it was really a way to empower them. And students were so motivated to advocate because they were doing this not only for themselves, but for their older peers and mentors in these older students. And then the last station was the Rise station. And this station, we rose to a mindful moment. This helped students do some deep breathing, guided imagery, but we really took this station, the Rise station, to the next level because we collaborated with the PE department for the turkey trot. So even though School Psychology Week was the week prior to when the actual turkey trot was held, the school psychologist supported the PE department in the turkey trot by having a R&R station at the end of the turkey trot, which we named as Refresh and reflect. So students were able to get a little bit of water and reflect on their accomplishments, because sometimes when we rise, we don't always give ourselves enough credit for how resilient we are and how renewed we feel after rising to the occasion. So this was really a great station that they were able to practice in the gym during School Psychology Week, as well as after the turkey trot. Lastly, we did a homeschool connection where we sent out a advocacy Jeopardy game that students were able to play at home with their families. We encouraged our families to play this game on Veterans Day, which was the day that school was closed. And it really gave children and their parents the opportunity to practice some of the skills that they learned during School Psychology Week in their home, because there's such a link between the problem solving we do during the school day and the problem solving we do at home. We also updated our family resource center and shared those links. And we added an advocacy page on the resource center. So if you have not yet checked it out, we encourage you to do so, because there are some wonderful resources. And speaking of resources, I'm very excited to share that this year we're going to be offering parent workshops for our parents district-wide. We're running them as mini virtual workshops. They're going to be starting as early as next month. And we sent out a parent survey on different topics that parents were interested in learning more about. And we're going to use their input to prioritize which workshops will be running first. So I know there was a lot of interest in setting up home routines that set students up for in-school success. So we're likely going to be running those workshops in December, as well as different parenting styles and what kind of parent are you in January. So it's going to be really exciting, and we hope that you attend.
Thank you, Dr. Zelser. So we did get over, I believe, over close to 70 right now parents that are expressing an interest. It is still on Parent Square, so it will be closing this week. So we just wanted, if any parents are interested, go on Parent Square and just fill it out, and we'll be in contact with you. And as you can see, this is the actual multimedia resource center that the school psychologist created, and there is a tab for advocacy, which is a great resource for parents as well as for children. Thank you, Dr. Zelser.
Thank you, Dr. Zelser. Thank you, Dr. Schiff and Ms. Lunar, for the update regarding School Psychology Awareness Week and American Education Week. We have one final presentation prior to our discussion on GATE. So I'm going to ask Ms. Lunar to share with the board as well as our school community where we are with the American Rescue Plan. And this American Rescue Plan basically is federal dollars that we are going to be getting, approximately $2.7 million over the next 3 years, to support our students in a variety of ways. We are going to hear tonight a little bit about some of the details regarding the plan and about what we are planning on doing as relating to specific activities in the very near future. And also we'll share a little bit about anticipated expenditures. So with that said, I'm going to ask Ms. Lunar to present her screen.
Thank you. So back in September, Mr. Phillips and myself had shared with the board and the community the American Rescue Plan funding that was broken up, as you can see here. The way that the federal government had allocated these funds was between state ed agency and local ed agencies. So back in September, we had shared the plan for the close to 1.6 million of that allocation, which was the LEA allocation. Back at the end of October, we did receive guidance from the state finally on the state ed allocation. It's important to keep in mind that not every school district has received this funding, so we are fortunate that we did receive this $1.2 million. It is a little bit different just as far as the way funding has to be utilized and some of the follow-up. So you'll see these percentages that are here, the 1%, 1%, 5%. those percentages are based on the total allocation that was given to the state. So that's how these numbers were calculated for the district. So the differences in allocations are these three specific areas where the LEA funding that we have also been receiving, that 1.6 million, it did leave us a bucket of money that had a little bit more flexibility. We are really tied into three specific areas here on this. It's summer enrichment, it's learning loss, and after school programming. In addition to that, they have provided these requirements for evidence-based activities. The state has shared that they do plan, once they receive guidance from the federal government, on how they will be collecting this information from us. You'll see that there is definitely a range here in the tiers of evidence-based requirements, ranging from strong to basically as long as we can provide a rationale as far as how this is improving student proficiency and growth within those three areas. So taking a look at these three areas, first, the Reserve for Summer Enrichment Programs. We did begin to utilize some of this. The funding does go back to March of 2021 and carries through to September of 2024. So our virtual summer STEAM program and coding that was facilitated by Play Pattern. We have plans to bring Lego Robotics as a summer program in as well. Our virtual book clubs, and looking to increase our targeted support programs, specifically looking at supporting our E&L students and reading intervention programs. Our after school program, we are kicking off this first one this coming Saturday, is expanding that virtual STEAM program that we had this past summer. But it's now going to be a Saturday Academy, which is running from the beginning of December through the middle of April, as well as including a family evening event in January. We're looking to develop a language development after school program, as well as an expansion of our health and mindfulness opportunities for staff, students, and community members. So Dr. Schimpf and I have been in talks and in discussion with our community members and stakeholders, as well as our staff, gaining feedback and looking to work with some outside consultants. We have brought on a new TLC team that facilitated a session on resiliency at our superintendent's conference day in November. The largest chunk of this money is reserved for learning loss. And this first program here, we're particularly excited about. We did just begin talks with an organization, NTC, that works with Nassau BOCES. It is basically an extended credit program, but they do have an English language learning program that they would provide a professor to us, and we would be able to offer either a remote or a hybrid course for families to improve upon their own English language skills. And they are willing to tailor this program specifically for our district. So this can further assist parents with learning how to navigate our website, learning how to navigate Google, and utilizing Parent Square. So we are hopeful that this will be able to kick off for February of 2022. Based upon our analysis of data and coming back in data meetings with all of the schools, math fluency is a particular area which we continue to look to strengthen. We had been using a free program, which turned to a slightly fee-based program, Extra Math, for a number of years. Based upon feedback from students and staff, we are looking to switch this program up. So we will be conducting a pilot in the beginning of January with 4 digital programs that teachers and students will be able to try out, with the hopes of selecting one for the following year. We are also looking at possibly implementing a digital reading fluency and diagnostic program, and looking to pilot that for the second half of the year with our first grade team. You've heard a lot about our wellness rooms that are getting ready to open in 2 of our schools. So really looking to support the social emotional needs and what types of workshops, consultants, trainers, professional development we can offer for staff, for the community, and for our students. And we are very hopeful that next year we will be able to get back to more field trip opportunities. So, really, what can some of these opportunities look like that are directly aligned to our content, to state standards, as well as our arts and education themes, and really looking to use this funding to support those opportunities for the following 2 school years.
Ms.
So,
Luna,
mhm.
can I just interject? I know we are using the terminology as presented by the state as it relates to learning loss. However, I just want to clarify for our community that we are less focused on learning loss and more concerned about where our students are currently and accelerating the learning for each individual child. So we don't work from a deficit model, quite frankly. We look at where our children are and we build upon their strengths at this particular point in time. So these reserves that are for learning loss is really accelerating student learning no matter what level the student is at.
Absolutely. Thank you. This is also a plan being that it does go to September of 2024 that we will be continuously revisiting. We will be sharing updates with the community, with our districts across the community, I apologize, to gain feedback on how the implementation is going of some of these programs, adjustments that might need to be made by, just as Dr. Sterling said, in response to meeting our students and meeting their specific needs. So any updates and changes that are made, we will be continuing to share over the course of the next 3 years with the community. Does anyone have any questions?
I do want to add that for our audience's knowledge, that these monies are actually helping us to enrich our programs without having to have any additional costs being borne by our taxpayers. So again, this is not supplanting current programs or programs for the future, but it's supplemental, which really supports us from a budgetary end in that we won't have to look for additional monies in particular areas because we will have grants to help us out over the next couple of years. Any other questions?
It's all good news.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Lunar.
Thank you.
And the last item on my agenda this evening is an item that I am very excited about, and I'm very pleased to share with you, even if it's virtually. When I came to this district nearly 10 years ago, I was introduced to a process called GATE. And the GATE process is a process that's unique to the Valley Stream school districts. This is a process where at a particular point in a teacher's career, they are asked to be evaluated more indefinitely, and we, excuse me, we take the time to look comprehensively at what the teacher has been doing, not only in the current year, but in years past. The superintendent and building administration work collaboratively in terms of evaluating the teacher in this particular GATE year. GATE really refers to the fact that we're holding the teacher from moving on to the next step in terms of salary until we've done a comprehensive review. So we ultimately want to see our teachers move through the GATE. So this evening, we have 5 wonderful staff members who have gone through the process over the last year, where they did meet with administration. We did have a comprehensive look of what they had been doing over the last several years as it related to previous evaluations, as well as their own involvement in the school district, their own professional development, and again, what's the added value that we're getting from our teachers at this particular point in time. So I am very pleased to share this evening with our building principals. All of our candidates that are being presented to the board this evening are individuals who I can say on a very personal note, I've had the opportunity to get to know and at the same time not know them from an academic sense in terms of how they are teaching, but who they are as individuals. And what has impressed me most about all of them is that it's not about what they know in terms of content, it is what they bring in terms of heart. And I've seen them in individual situations, be it talking to kids and counseling them outside in the hall because it's a rough day and they're having a hard time functioning in class, or trying to help a kid that's really losing it for very personal reasons and doing it with calm and dignity in the school. And at the same time, watching the teachers take an interest in individual students in terms of how they are doing. So I just want to say thank you to all of our 5 individuals tonight for not only being excellent educators, but also for being wonderful people and human beings to the children of our school district. So with that said, I'm going to invite our first school, Shaw Avenue School, Mr. Colarossi, school principal, to talk about our first candidate, Janine Lichter.
Thank you, Dr. Sterling. Good evening, Board of Education,
Good evening.
Valley Stream 30 community members. This is Janine Lichter, a true collaborator.
Give a wave,
Who is
Janine. There
always-
you go.
who is always found talking about teaching, that is. Always planning with grade level teachers on preps, on lunch in the hallways, always willing to share best practices with her colleagues to enhance the learning experiences for all students at Shaw Avenue. Janine comes from a family of educators, so she values the homeschool connection. In fact, she started many activities and events which strengthened the bond between home and school, including one that we saw this evening, Everyone Eats Rice, which celebrates the diverse cultures that make up Shaw Avenue, Muffins with Moms, and Donuts with Dads, which acknowledges the significance of all supportive figures at home. In September of last school year, when called upon, Ms. Lichter transitioned from the hybrid instructional model to the remote model after the year already began. And similar to her room change this year, she made this adjustment with true professionalism and pure grace. She did an amazing job, as last year she created and shared a plethora of SEL digital rooms and digital libraries, all including hyperlinks and adorable little Bitmojis. And this year in her classroom, it is just as welcoming, lively, and interactive. As a member of the technology committee, Ms. Lichter is willing to lend a voice and her expertise for the betterment of the entire district. Janine Lichter, we appreciate all you do day in and day out. Congratulations on your accomplishment.
Thank you very much. Thank you to Dr. Sterling, the board, Mr. Colarossi, my other administrators. I can't believe it's been 20 years. It's really been 20 plus, but it's hard to believe that much time has passed. It really does feel like yesterday that I just started. I've been learning and growing as a teacher for the last 20 years, and most days are wonderful. I'm not going to lie and say every single day, but I do look forward to many more years of working with everyone. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Janine. Our next teacher being presented to the board is Mrs. Regina Rudy.
Mrs. Rudy, Regina Rudy, a true instructional leader who knows the curriculum inside and out. As well-versed as she is in the 6th grade pacing and significant concepts that must be covered, she still plans every lesson down to the final second. Her learning objectives, the questions she asks, the activities she offers the various groups of students, and even the formative and summative assessments she uses to gauge levels of understanding are all intentional, purposeful, and effective. You asked Regina if she'd like some coverage to maybe take care of some other school business, and she immediately declines because she knows that every minute she is with her kids is another minute of essential learning. These attributes are what make her a great mentor, as Regina supports many of our new teachers and new faces at Shore Avenue, especially this year. Regina is a team player and a fabulous guide. In fact, she mentored Mr. Conley when he first arrived at Shore Avenue and has definitely taught me a thing or two in my days here. Most importantly, Regina knows how to prepare our sixth graders for the next step in their academic careers. Her students leave Shaw with critical thinking techniques, collaborative skills, risk-taking capabilities, and pure self-confidence needed to take on whatever challenge lies next. We appreciate you and congratulations on your accomplishments.
Thank you, Chris, for those kind words. Thank you, Dr. Sterling. Thank you, board. I feel very fortunate to work in Valley Stream. It's a home away from home. I love the families I've gotten to work with, and I really appreciate the support that the administrators and the board gives the teachers, because you make it a lot easier for us. You keep us at the forefront of every new thing that comes out, and it makes our job a lot easier. And I appreciate you, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Colarossi. Clearstream Avenue School, Mr. John Singleton, welcome. And I'd like to introduce, or have you introduce, Melissa Rodriguez.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sterling. So imagine you're going through GATE during a pandemic and you're going to be teaching remotely. What sort of things would go through your mind? The notion may rattle the average teacher. However, Ms. Rodriguez is not an average teacher. Ms. Rodriguez demonstrates caring and compassion for her students on a daily basis. Her goal is that her compassion will rub off on her students so that they may build empathy for one another and develop academic work ethics, and most of all, discover their own power to learn and grow. Last year, during remote teaching, Ms. Rodriguez was able to create friendships amongst her students by playing games, having supervised chats, and engaging her class in interactive activities via district-approved websites. Ms. Rodriguez is proud of the relationships that she's developed with her families, often extending the classroom into the household through phone calls, extended activities, and Google Meets. Academically, Ms. Rodriguez should be commended for stretching her students' knowledge and ability to relate to the world around them. Her Women's History Project is an example of how students learn history while developing their voices. Students choose a woman in history to research about. Then they collect information on their own about that person's personal life or their notable experiences that made them famous. Then they create a puppet in the woman's likeness and present their findings to the class. The experience is a liberating one in that students from start to finish can be proud of the work that they've created and the support that they've given by their peers. By the way, did I tell you that these are second graders? Mm-hmm. Not everything in Ms. Rodriguez's class is academics, though. Students have plenty of time to get their hands dirty, making slime, exploring nature, and being creative. Ms. Rodriguez cares about her students and sees them as individuals, which is a difficult task in and of itself when you have 25 children to care for. However, she does it with grace and tenacity. Outside of Clearstream, Ms. Rodriguez loves to spend time with her three boys, Cameron, Christian, and Andrew, and her husband, Matthew. She enjoys taking long walks with their doggy, Augie, and hiking with the crew whenever they get a chance. So congratulations to Ms. Rodriguez on your well-deserved GATE. And we hope that you just continue to become an influencer of children at Clearstream Avenue School.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sterling. Thank you, Mr. Singleton. Thank you, board. It is truly an honor. I can't believe that I have been here this long. I'm not old enough. I don't know where the time has gone. It seems like just a minute ago when I started and I was just a spring chicken, but I've learned a lot along the way. And I've seen how my students have been able to grow and learn and become completely independent by the end of each school year. And I always feel so proud. Thank you so much. I'm honored.
Congrats.
We'll see you later, boys. Those are two of them.
Where's Augie the doggy?
He's napping.
He's napping.
okay.
Oh,
Okay.
maybe they're going to get him. We'll see if they'll make an
as
appearance.
we get the door, we're going to ask Mr. Singleton to please introduce and speak to the wonderful work of Jennifer Orlana.
Of course.
Thank you, Dr. Sterling. So, if Jennifer Oriana was an artist, the school would be her canvas, the care and attention she exhibits would be her paintbrushes, and the smiles on our children's faces would be her masterpiece. Now, we only have a half-hour show here, so I've got to say as much as I possibly can about Jen Oriana and create my own mural masterpiece so that you can see all of the things that she does in the district and at Clearstream. As the school psychologist, she provides social and emotional support for our children. She accurately assesses the needs of our students and determines the most appropriate research-based interventions to create a positive outcome. In her travels, she collaborates with teachers, parents, and administrators to maintain mindfulness and wellness throughout our school campus. If Miss Oriana had a superpower, it would be X-ray vision. She's able to see through the muck and mire of a situation and zero in on the heart of the matter. It takes a big heart to embrace children, especially when they aren't present in their best moments. It's a special relationship when children can trust and confide in an adult, knowing that that adult will do everything in her power to support them. That's Miss Oriana. Miss Oriana supports our families by updating them on their children's progress and assisting them with community counseling services and making recommendations for continued support. She's also instrumental in providing resources and support for our Spanish and bilingual families. The assistance that she provides for our bilingual and Spanish families makes them feel welcomed and heard. Ms. Oriana is a tremendous resource for CSA's social emotional learning community, where school-wide events are planned to engage our children in wellness. Last year, Ms. Oriana, along with the SEL committee, envisioned the virtual wellness room and shared it as a Google slide. This idea became a reality as our new wellness room receives local praise, being featured in a November 7th, 2021 Sunday edition of Newsday. This year, during National School Psychologist Awareness Week, Ms. Oriana challenged the CSA community to get in gear. She created activities and workshops to build student awareness of growth, engagement, and awareness of the power to rise to any occasion. On a district level, she's been involved in Taste of Service, pushing SEL classroom support, lab sites, and has chaired the preschool committee on special education. Ms. Oriana regularly attends the LICE conference each year, CPSC collegial circles, school psychology workshops, and turnkeys information to the staff as needed. Ms. Oriana is an educator of integrity and honesty. She approaches every situation with the lens that it requires to ensure that the mental health needs of the students are met and fully addressed. This advocacy that she provides for the student population is critical to ensuring that our children's academic and SEL needs are supported. While we all make personal sacrifices to maintain the continuity of instruction in school, it should be noted that Ms. Oriana's dedication to this district is unsurpassed. No one prioritizes the needs of this school and this community more than Ms. Oriana. Ms. Oriana is blessed with 3 children, Layla, Bella, and Lucas, and her husband, Will. We are proud of the work that Ms. Oriana has provided to Valley Stream District 30, and we congratulate her on achieving this milestone.
I got to catch my breath there. Thank you, Mr. Singleton. Thank you, Dr. Sterling, the board, and the Valley Stream community. Um, I feel like the lucky one, and not because I'm going through GATE, but because I was given an opportunity 19 years ago to join Valley Stream 30. I was a mere 20-something-year-old and right out of grad school, and I was given this tremendous opportunity to work for such a wonderful community. I feel honored that families that I work with have entrusted me with their children. I feel like it is a dream come true for me. It is my passion, it's my life calling, and I couldn't imagine myself anywhere else. I really do love, I know it's a difficult job, but I absolutely love every part of the job that I do. And I mean that with sincerity. I walk in and I do for our community what I hope would be done for my children in their own schools. And I work from that place, from a place of honesty, integrity, and love. And I hope I feel like that passion will never die. And as long as I'm in Valley Stream, I feel like that is my commitment to the entire school community. So thank you.
Thank you.
And last but definitely not least, we're returning to the Forest Road School, and I'm going to ask the principal, Ms. Erin Malone, to introduce Ray Costa.
She's okay.
Okay, okay, that's it.
I am totally kidding. There would be so much to say about Ray Costa, most of which could be shared with the public, some of which probably should be kept confidential. Ray Costa is an absolute joy and pleasure to work with. She is a consummate professional, and being a speech therapist in my previous life, it is outstanding to come to work every day and see a support staff member who knows what she's doing and can make those connections to the classroom and the curriculum. It's not always an easy thing to be a clinician inside of a school setting, and she wears both of those hats beautifully. I do want for the board and those who are in attendance watching to understand that not only does Ray take her job very, very seriously in terms of making up sessions and always going the extra mile for children above and beyond what we ask during the school day. But it is something that should be known. During the pandemic, she was going house to house, delivering food, dropping off gift cards, making sure people had the resources that they needed in the community, and working right alongside of our school psychologists to make sure our families were able to access the remote learning programs, which for some of our special education students were a bit more challenging than maybe for some of our general ed students. I also do want to share on a personal note that there was a student in our school who did not know how to ride a bike, and that struck Ray as horrifying. So she went on Garden City Moms and she got a bike donated that ultimately was too small for this child. She went back to Garden City Moms, got another bike donated. In fact, another bike on top of that, which we were able to get to another student in our building, and could be found down that new beautiful path to the canal in the back of Millbrook with this student who outweighed her and was much taller than she, running down the bike path with him, making sure that before JW left us, he knew how to ride that bike. And now it is absolutely so gratifying to see him riding around Millbrook with a sense of freedom that he did not have before. So it's one small example of who Ray Costa is. And we are so fortunate to have her in Valley Stream 30. I just wanted you all to know what I know about her. Way to go, Ray.
Thank you, Erin. Thank you, Dr. Sterling. Thank you, board. Thank you, administrators. I'm so happy to be here with these other women also going through their GATE. We're on the same time system here, so it's so nice to see all these faces I started with. I'm really just grateful to work here. I love my job. I love the students. I've grown both personally and professionally over the past 20 years. And that's because of the children, because of the administration, because of the community. I love Valley Stream community. The parents are amazing. And I just always feel welcome and wanting to give back to the community what I've been so fortunate to get from them, which is a career that has just been rewarding and wonderful every step of the way. But as Janine said, not every day, but most of the days. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And congratulations to all of our GATE candidates this evening. The Board of Education will be acting on that shortly. So with that said, that ends the superintendent's report, and I turn it back over to our Madam President, Ingrid Weil.
Thank you, Dr. Sterling. Thank you to all of our school psychologists for your service to our kids. We really appreciate what you do for them. I encourage all the parents to attend the workshops because I'm sure that would be very enlightening and very helpful. To Ms. Luna, thank you for your presentation on the American Rescue Plan, and we're very happy and grateful that we have this money to do such great things, and it would afford our kids such wonderful programs. I've been on the board for about 8 years, and I say it all the time, and probably you may get tired of me saying it. Teachers are my favorite people, and this is why I'm here. They change the world. I mean, everyone knows my kids went from Forest Road to South, and Forest Road was their foundation. And Aaron, you know, I'm forever grateful for that. Teachers change lives, and you have no idea the impact that you make on children. I see it in my house every single day, what you've done for mine, and I know what you've done for others, but you have no idea what you do and how much you mean to children. So thank you and congratulations to Ms. Lichter, Ms. Rudy, Ms. Rodriguez, Ms. Ariana, and Ms. Coster. Thank you very much. There is no correspondence to come before the board, and I don't believe there's any public comment. At this time, will the Board of Education dispense with the reading of the minutes for our business meeting and audit committee meeting of October 25th, 2021, as listed?
Second.
Moved and second on the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Will the Board of Education accept as presented the minutes as listed for the business meeting and our audit committee meeting on October 25th, 2021?
And the work
Second.
session of November 15th.
And the work session of November 15th. Thank you, Ken.
Second.
Moved and second on the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. And for our education agenda, Trustee Cummins?
Thank you very much, Madam President. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to move items A through K as a consent agenda unless anyone has any items they would like to remove to discuss.
Maybe E?
E. I thought about E, but everybody went through all of the E's.
Well, just to
before.
pull it out as an individual.
Okay, that's fine. Any other besides E? I'd like to move as a consent agenda items A through K with the exception of E.
Second.
Okay. Moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? With the exception of E, A through K carries.
Item E, upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education moves to approve the following GATE appointments as indicated below: to Ray Costa, Janine Lichter, Jennifer Orleana, Melissa Rodriguez, and Regina Rudy as listed.
Second.
Moved and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Those motion carries. Congratulations again, and thank you.
And that concludes the education report.
Thank you very much, Trustee Cummins. And for our business report, Trustee Okafor.
Thank you so much, Madam President, and good evening, everyone. Would anyone like to pull any items for reading or discussion? Seeing that there are none, I motion to accept items A through K as a consent agenda this evening.
Second.
Moved and second on the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Those items carries.
And that concludes the business report.
Thank you, Trustee Okafor. And for our finance report, Trustee Labrie.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening, everyone. Congratulations, everyone. For the finance report, do any trustees have any items they'd like to take out for discussion, question, what have you?
Nope.
No.
Being that there are no exceptions, I move items A through D as listed.
Second.
Second.
Items A through D, so moved. Items of information, Trustee
You have to vote.
Cummins.
We didn't vote on it, but
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm ahead of myself.
You just
I'm
moved it
sorry.
right out
All
of it.
those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Items A through C on the finance agenda is accepted.
What about D?
Do we have a D?
yes.
Yes.
Items A through D. Oh,
For the items of
Is that-
information, the monthly maintenance
items of
report
information, Trustee Cummins.
is the monthly maintenance report is attached. There was a vandalism report, but that was prior to our last meeting, so it was already spoken about at our last meeting, so there's nothing new to report on that. And I am thankful to the community always for watching out for our buildings because buildings can't talk for themselves. So thank you all for that.
Thank you, Trustee Cummins. Is there any old business to come before the board? There being none and no public comment, motion to adjourn.
So
Second.
moved.
And second.
Moved and second on the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are now adjourned at 9:07 p.m. Have a beautiful evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take
Good
care.
night. Thank you.
Good night.
Congratulations.
Good night. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Night. Thank you.